Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the land of the rising sun today. We're a story about Japan and Jasmy. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. It is, let's check the date again, February 21st, 2024, as I always like to say. Kind of a crazy week. Can't believe the year is going by this fast already, and we're about to enter March already. And as usual, got Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, in the house. Pedro, what's happening this morning?
Hey, what up, guys? How's everyone doing? Hope everybody's doing well, and I hope things are going smoothly for y'all. If you guys can do me a quick favor, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and share button. Tell me where you're at or where you would like to be. Right now, I am in freezing cold Northeast, and I wish I was in the greatest, well, I would say greatest place, but I mean Santorini, or if I could be Santorini.
You'll never get it.
I do like Santorini, but that's no, it's not German, it's Greek. So soon.
Welcome, Chuck.
Right?
Welcome very much.
What up,
Welcome to the
Chuck?
show.
Also, one last thing, if you guys can. Please hit that like button and share button. That share button does help. And if you guys can as well, if you guys are on other,
Platforms today, we're streaming on, as usual, we're streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and LinkedIn also today. And if you're watching on LinkedIn and want to participate, the comment section doesn't really work so well on LinkedIn. They haven't figured that out yet. If you want to participate in the engagement and the conversation, jump over to YouTube, find the link, or just search YouTube for DYOR Media, and you'll find us and join the conversation over on YouTube. And if you do drop a comment on LinkedIn, I may not see it for a while. But anyway, good morning, Carmen Crypto. Carmen Crypto in the house, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if that sparkles loud enough, but he can hear it. Good morning, Carmen. How's it going all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada?
Crypto Carmen. Crypto Carmen Sprinkles?
Carmen Crypto Carmen.
Sprinkles or Crypto, or I'm trying to figure out how we can go Carmen Crypto Sprinkles. I guess we could do it like that. That sounds better. Carmen Crypto Sprinkles. Yes, sprinkles.
That's what she asked for, so she got it. Chuck says, morning, Carmen. Morning, everybody. I got a good show for you today. You know, as we're plucking through this week, there's, seemingly more and more news and more things going on in crypto as the market expands and new projects come to light. Yesterday, we had the big Starknet launch, which dropped $5 billion airdropped $5 billion worth of stuff to people who quickly sold it off.
Quickly. Oh, my goodness,
Quickly sold it off. But that's what you get when you give free shit to people. A lot of people take advantage of that, and that's all right. I'm sure that's built into those types of things. But anyway, free stuff for everybody. Then they got some value out of it. Sold it off and moved on. And today, we got Space Cat in the house. It says, oops, it's 24. My mouse has disappeared. 24 minutes in the afternoon. Space.
The
Final frontier. Welcome, Space Cat. Loyal viewer, thank you very much. I was kind of like every day I struggle to have a theme of the day. You know, Pedro and I talk about charts, we talk about news, all this type of stuff, but we never really have a long production. Like it's like, well, next Friday we're going to be talking about like this, and then we'll have next month we'll have Kanye West on and the Blues Brothers and like Saturday Night Live thing, right? We kind of we react to the news cycle. I was wanting to talk about one thing today, and I woke up this morning to Jasmy pumping. And if you guys recall, Pedro called Jasmy the other day, and he put it in our portfolio. I forget at what price. I forgot to enter it. You need to tell me what price we bought it at. About $1,000 of it at 13 or something like that. I forget what it was. And Pedro's like, this is a good area. We should get in when it pulls back to this little spot here. And it pulled back, and then it pumped. It pumped.
It was the 5 cent. It was the 5 cent mark, and it was coming back down into this demand area here, when we talked about it, because it was going up, we were selling down into this level. Now I talked about it up in here. I said when we pull back into it's because we're finding support on that 8-period moving average here. And so last week I talked about when we come back into this level, we want to be able to buy wherever it comes down into, because we are starting to see it break out. We had a lower high here, and it was starting to pump. So I said if it pulls back into this 8-period moving average is where we would want to get into. So that would have been about $6 here, and now it is up at 6 cents, not $6, 6 cents here. So yeah, it would have been about 14. So that would have been a double. That would have been a 2x. So we would have gotten out, not out, but we would have got out at 40% left, because we would have sold at 60% at a 2x. And then right now we just have a moon bag, so it would be nice.
All right, well, let's drop that. While you're introducing us into Bitcoin,
Yes, Bitcoin.
But before we get into that, what the Jasmy pump led me to a little research, and it led me to I'm laying in bed thinking about this, and I get a notification that one of my friends has gone live. That's Zach Humphreys. And it says, "Hey, I'm talking about Jasmine. It's pumping." I was like, "Oh, for Christ's sakes!" So I get on his stream. I'm like, "Oh, that's what I was wanting to talk about today." Anyway, he's like, "Listen up, we'll have some good stuff." Anyway, what he pointed out something that I had been talking about a while ago. That was Mt. Gox in Japan. And what happened after the Mt. Gox hack was that Japan, as most governments do, when a bunch of their citizens get wrecked, either by finances or by lead, they overreact. And Japan famously overreacted and put the clamps down on crypto, so where it was very difficult for people to invest in crypto, hold crypto, and more importantly for VCs, for exchanges to exist really anymore. I mean, there are exchanges in the crypto industry in Japan for sure, absolutely. But it wasn't as easy as it used to be, and just like in the U.S., it clamped down on innovation, and it clamped down on VC investment and that type of stuff. Made it very, very, very difficult. And as we know, when money is difficult to spend, whoosh, it goes to other markets. But Japan has realized the error of their ways, and Jasmy is the benefit of that. So we'll talk about that later in the show. But first, as usual, let's hit it up and get information about what is going on at BTC, or more to the point, what is not going on with BTC today.
Yeah, so right now we're doing a little bit of sideways action. We're up at this same level here. I put this up here this past week, so we're still kind of just trading in here. We went over the fact that when we were just looking at crypto, we definitely saw, like I talked about, that we were watching the long sell-off positions. And so people are selling off their actual coin itself, and at a pretty decent route. If you look at this comparative to, let's say, these type of sells, when we had these type of sell-offs, this is a pretty substantial sell-off. So it's really interesting to see what's actually happening. Whether this is, let's say, Kathy Woods or a couple other people that are selling off positions, they definitely are. So intrinsically, as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, all right, well, is there a short building? Well, sure enough, there is. So there's a bit of a short building already as we see it, and it's picking up. So that is definitely putting pressure on Bitcoin to go down. So I would assume then, if we're going to go down, where are we going to go, right? And so you can see here, I've talked about this level here of that 48,000 to the 45,000, and I've also talked about this other level sitting on the weekly, which is about that. It's where we're sitting at that lower, just below the actual moving, just below this trend line, or at the trend line right below the zone here. We're having that weekly SMA sitting right here. And so it's one of those things that I could potentially see us just selling off to there. And if you're going to ask, well, how far could it go? Potentially, we could, like I've talked about, that 30,000 area, where that has to be retraced to. So if this thing really starts to pick up steam, we can see this thing come back down to that 32,000 area, retrace back into this level, and then see it push back up. Now, if we look at from an actual monthly standpoint, we got February, we got March, and we got April. We got 1 month before the actual, or about a month and a half Actually about 2 months, excuse me, because we're in 1 week, and then we got the 24th. So this area here is a very unique area because potentially we could see a sell-off to come back into the actual halving. Now, I've heard people talk about that potentially that the halving is going to be a dud moment, right? We've seen now multiple times where we've seen
damn
halvings. Yeah, the halving has been, we've seen now with a couple coins that have had halvings where we really didn't see much movement. I mean, i.e. Litecoin and a few other ones out there, which is kind of just, we saw a bit of a rally or even a bit of a sell-off. So it was something that was really interesting to sit there and see. So as we move forward into the halving, now that the institutions are involved, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be buying, and it kind of makes sense that they would sit there and take the other side, right, of the sell pressure,
Right.
because then they could fill up their sells, and then when people sell off that position because they bought because there's nothing there, then they come in and they buy it back, and all of a sudden they see people lose their positions because they don't see much coming in. So it's really interesting to see what's happening here. And one thing I love about the blockchain is we can actually see what's actually happening in it, right? We're literally watching it happen, whereas why isn't it moving anywhere? Where is it going? People are selling off their positions. So if they're selling off their positions, we're seeing a smaller move. Who's taking the positions? Potentially that's the institutions, right? They're gobbling up more.
Yeah,
So,
there's still
anyways.
inflows of ETF money going on.
Oh yeah, dude. ETF money is still moving. I mean, it's nuts.
I don't.
nuts.
I don't. Frankly, I don't see any end of it at all. At all. Pedro, one of the things I forgot to do was go around and drop the alpha about our show in all the usual spots, and so
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing that right now.
No worries. I saw this on Watcher Guru. I don't know how legit this is, but I just posted the picture of Sam SBF potentially.
Oh, in the joint.
And yeah, and like with straight up gangsters, bro. Like, I mean, is he like it? Here's the thing: if you look at the whiteness of his face on this one, and then the whiteness of his skin, right,
Different.
on his neck, no, it's the same.
Oh.
And then if you look at the whiteness of his arms and legs, he's a pretty white individual. So it's really interesting to sit there and say, is this legit or not, dude? Because it's it legitly looks legit. And I'm just here's the thing. President either makes you better or makes you worse.
Yeah, there's maybe 0.0001%. I mean, the whole prison topic is a whole different. I could go on forever about how we do that wrong. But
yeah, absolutely.
but
here's
it makes you worse.
He's a genius of a man. And if I'm some top-notch gangster, and you just had and here's the other part that people don't even realize. In the regular population, 1% of the regular population are geniuses. In jail, 10% of the population are geniuses. I.e., all of a sudden then you get this
Pedro,
guy
there's a home for us then.
And staying away from that. The majority of my brothers have been there. I'm one of the lucky ones who hasn't. But the reason why I say that is this. He is a smart man and understands the financial systems really well. I'm pretty positive he's made some friends. And those friends are like, yo, can you still make money? He's like, well, yeah, I definitely can. And they're like, all right, dude, well, here are XYZ. Get to work. And he goes, and that's how we protect you. Because, I mean, the man is under some real stress. So, I don't know. We'll
SBF, ladies and gentlemen. SBF. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the quality of the entertainment you get here at the DYOR Media Network rises above all others. I gotta tell you, there's a big crypto and stock trading and options trading channel called Tasty Live. It's called now. It used to be called Tasty Trading, but they split their brokerage business and their online business apart. So it's Tasty Live. They have all these shows all day. And it's exactly what I want to do. I want to have 6 or 7 shows with different content creators, creating a nice DYOR Media network. Been trying to plan this for 2 years, yada, yada, yada. And I sort of pay attention to but every one of their shows, and I'm not criticizing them. Everyone that's online here all makes fun of each other here, trust me. They're like this. And then the market is going to turn, and we'll see the options move with the delta and the theta. And I'm like, I've got the toothpicks under my eyes trying to watch it to see how. And they have 2,000 people watching. You know, we've got 10. And there's no fun. Don't forget. There's no fun or added commentary. You're just like, oh, guys, for the love of God. But they managed to sell their whole thing to IG Wealth, or whatever they're called, for $200 million. So,
wow.
So does the banter help or hurt? That's the question of the day. Does the banter help or hurt? Anyway, but what does help is our audience. And once again, I want to take some time to thank everyone for tuning in here today before we get going into the harder show. Probably won't have a long show today, but you never know how it goes. At about 12:45 in a few minutes, Pedro, the Stag group people are going to pop in. They have a big announcement at 1 o'clock. So I told them, I said, hey, if you guys want, come on over at about 12:45. We'll bring up your chart, see how it's doing since yesterday. And then send you off to your their own VC in order to do their announcement. So they'll be around in a few minutes. You'll start seeing those knuckleheads
cool.
Come in and join us. And I wasn't shy about it. I was like, hey, come on over and bomb our stream, get the viewership and engagement up, and in turn we'll talk about your chart and your white paper and all that. And we'll trade views for words. Gotta be honest about it, guys.
By the way, Lord Baltimore, I love. He's like Stag. It's already here because your show is based and awesome. Y'all young kids based and all these.
Oh, look at they did.
Like,
they already bombed me here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bro, you know what blows me away? It's just this idea of there's so many. I thought, like, you know, the older you get, you realize each generation has, like, you know, lit. Like the past generation.
Welcome, Shane Stores. Seen new name there. Welcome. Carmen says, I'm disappointed his hair isn't braided. Oh, it will be soon. Dara, welcome from Madrid. Thank you very much. Tyrion. I don't know how to say your first name. Tyrion.
Dude, do you remember that old 80s, what's it called? The movie with Dan Aykroyd?
The Great Outdoors?
Trading Places. No.
Oh, no, Trading. Of course I'm Trading Places. I remember that.
Dude, do you remember the part when he goes all super, like, pimp status and his hair's all braided and he's all thugged out? Dude,
yes.
Dude, that's going to be SBF, bro. He's just going to be, like, just ruthless. He's going to run the world from prison, bro. I bet.
No, fun fact about Trading Places is everyone in Telegram land uses a GIF of Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy when they all yell buy or all yell sell at once, and there's all these traders focusing on them. That's the trading floor I used to work in Four World Trade Center when I worked in the futures markets, and they filmed that movie on the floor there, and most of those guys are actual traders there, and I know a whole bunch of them in there. Derek, good morning. Derek, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We got the ka-ching, because Derek is also a king ka-ching. Jason Spurgeon says, we're already listening. Lord Baltimore's, you just got on the FBI list. It is. Anyway, Pedro, let's bring up the Stag chart. We'll get into it a little early there so they can go get ready for their show and announcement.
Boom, stag. And what's the STG?
Of course, I still got the BTC thing running. I gotta remember to take that down when it's not up.
Like I said, we had a nice little sell-off. Boom, right? Expect it. And it had a pretty good amount of volume coming in. So that was actually a really good thing. So I did, at the time, I wish it would keep my stuff. But obviously not. Here we go.
And just as a disclosure, I am an investor in Stag, but Stag has not paid me for appearance or promotion or anything like that. I bought into it because I think they're a fun group of guys, and they talked me into it, along with some of other viewers. And as I said, nobody is paying for play here.
Excellent.
And when we do that, it would be clearly disclaimed that it's a sponsored segment. So, just so you know.
And if ever I was to do that, and if I said I was going to sell off, I would let them know I'm going to sell off. But I'm not going to sell off. Like I always like moonbags, right?
Moonbags, love them.
Moonbag, yeah, man. I mean, we've got a couple moonbags going on right now within our portfolio, so it's a good day. All right, so like I talked about here, let me bring up, where is it? Indicators, and let's do this right here. Boom. Where you at? Moving averages.
Third Baltimore says 100 Stag is the same as 135 million Dogecoin in terms of coin market share. It's weird. I was in a project once that had a quintillion. And like, you know, you're trading like, oh, I'm going to drop 18 quadrillion tokens today and sell it. It was like $20.
Dude.
But it pumped. And we did, Chuck, if you're out there listening, if you recall, we remember burning quadrillions, and then later in life, a quadrillion was worth $85,000.
Wow, for real?
Yeah, as in the old DYOR project when it super pumped in 2021.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then it went down just as fast, so nobody got rich.
Sad day.
Yeah, Chuck, we gave away quadrillions. And all of a sudden we were laughing about it. I'm like, it's worth $85,000.
That's big money, brother.
Carmen says, now I'm triggered. Disco. Disco. Carmen, I found some of our old... what were they called? The burn AMAs or whatever. The intros in which I put on the disco outfit in the disco studio. Oh man, I saw those the other day, and they were hilarious.
Hilarious.
All right, what do we got here, Pedro?
All right, give me 1 second if I can get this right. Oh, maybe it's not okay.
While you're doing it, I didn't know anything about Stag, and Stag apparently is trying to help out the whole access to hunting lands and natural resources for people in order to guarantee people have a place, lands they can access to hunt. As we all know, as we all don't know, I mean, I'm not a large hunter, and I was telling the story yesterday that the last time I went hunting was quail hunting, and I went with a friend who's a member of a club and all that, and apparently my vest had one of my old home defense slugs in it, or not slugs, but double-aught buckshots in it, and I loaded that up in there with some number 8 birdshot. It's bang, bang, bang. Everyone's looking at me like, what the hell was that? Because I was using a semi-auto shotgun, not a double barrel. But anyway, access to hunting ground is very difficult. Either areas are populated, or they're actively being farmed. Bye, Mrs. Striking. Good luck today. She has a big meeting today, big Mrs. Striking meeting. Wish her luck, everyone. Or they're in protected lands. Like Canada has the most amazing hunting land ever. You can hunt in about nowhere of it. People, firearms. We don't want firearms. They're not good. You know. Meanwhile, there's like deer are eating houses. There's so many of them running around. And so I have gone through your white paper, all 20 pages of it, and read about it. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I like what I see there. I like the concept of trying to help raise money to do these types of things. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it more as we go along the line. Lord Baltimore says, watching Pedro put the lines on our chart feels like I'm at the dentist. Cheerian, how do we say your name properly? Like Cheerios or like Sherry or what is it?
Sherian.
And where in the world are you coming to us from with that name?
Sherian Sparges. It sounds like they're like a very, very sophisticated, educated.
Shireen.
Shireen? Hello, my name is Shireen.
All right, Pedro. They don't have much time left. Let's get to their chart and talk about what's about to pump here, or not,
Alrighty.
or not.
So we did fall. Like I said, we did have a pretty decent sell-off, which is good. Around this area here, which I talked about, which is the $1.48 area to the $1.29 area. This area held, as you can see, we even tried to, but it honestly hit some really good support here, which is really good. And now you can see here it's starting to pump. So it all depends on if we've got to have more pumpage. So we need to see more buyers step in at these levels as it pushes it up even higher. It's gonna be really interesting. Now what's really more interesting is that within this project, as you guys can see, its market cap is 224,000, right? And in itself, it's going to take, even though like it's only 224, in real fiat, it's going to take some real money to really push this, because it costs a lot of money to push it now, because you got to take $2, $2.50, $3 out of grocery money or whatever it would be, gas money, and put that into this to see this grow higher. So I for it to then get to, let's say, $4 and $5 and $7, it's going to be a bit tricky for people to be able to skim off. It's not like when it was down here at this 6 cent mark, right? And by the way, I mean, great job in the aspect of, look, whoever's sitting right here, right, at 6 cents, great. You literally done almost like a 50x, right? So it's just going to take a little bit more money for that to get going, to push that higher. So it's going to be really interesting to see if people will be able to take money out and push that. But it's nice. It is nice to sit there and see. If held on this position, we put a higher high in right here. Now it's most likely going to see a little bit of a sell-off, come down, pick up buyers down at these lower points, and then see it continue higher here. So the $3 mark here is going to be that psychological area here. And at a market cap of sitting at 230, so that would be maybe an additional, say, 30. Yeah.
Well, 100 grand in market cap, 30.
Yeah.
Oh, my math abilities have failed me this morning.
So it should be about 300,000. So you should see this area here playing, right? We're talking, boom, let's say 70. So about $70,000 more to get up to that market cap of $3 here. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. But on the back end, I think what's interesting is this, is if we come down again and hit this area here, I'm looking for $1.80, $1.79-ish area playing down at this level to see another rally back up into that $3 mark, or potentially seeing a push up even higher. Now the intraday chart on this, and this is the part I bring up here, intraday charting is we definitely play nice. It definitely came down, as you guys can see, into the morning and then pushed back up. So we've got to stay above, not 5, where was it? 15. Yeah, that 15 1 hour chart here. We've got to stay above that 8. This is where we're playing off of this. So if we start to trickle down below that 8.
You scrolled up there, Pedro. There you go.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, if we start to trickle below that 8, the next place is to see it come down and hit these lower SMAs, which would be somewhere down here where I talked about it coming down to. And so after that, expect to see a rally up. But your play is to see what's going off of that 8 period moving average on the hour, as well as the 2 hour mark there.
Well, they also have a lot of fundamental stuff coming in here. I mean, for instance, they have announcements today. I'm guessing you guys have some more AMAs, that type of stuff too. So we see Alfie and the Stag Party. Welcome, Alfie.
What's up, brother?
Operation Phoenix Swapper incoming. Swappers are a good thing. Dev Matt. I've known Dev Matt for a long time, and he set one up for a project that Chuck and Carmen and I have been in a long time ago. And you get more. You get more when you use the swapper than when you use Pancake Swap. Matt said, welcome, Alfie. And Lord Baltimore says, is it harder to read charts for microcaps? My personal opinion, of course it is. But Pedro comes right out and says, nah, they all kind of follow the same rules.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah, it works.
Like, you guys have seen it. I mean, go back and look at my, the proofs and the pudding and the recordings. Y'all can see it. I mean, just
That's true. There's been a number of notable times Pedro's called it in the past. Even just blind looking at a chart and pulled it up and he goes, nah, there's too much resistance here. There's lots of orders here. Its natural tendency is to go where the meat of the bones are with all the orders. And the next day I'll be like, hey, you Pedro, you called that shit. Did I buy it? Nope. Nope. Nope.
Here's the thing, dude. It's going to get fun when really the money starts coming in and we start to see things screaming, right? Like when all of a sudden, like, 10Xs, we're pissed off when we only got like a 10X, right? Now we're like, oh, we got a 2X. We got a 10X, right? Remember, dude, when that baby starts pumping and all of a sudden it's like, oh, dude, we just got that huge pump, right? Like we're sitting at 200,000 right now, but all of a sudden that 200,000 turns into 2 million. And then that 2 million turns into like 80 million. And you're like, holy smoly, bro.
I would love to have that problem. I think all of you guys would love to have that. Oh, damn, what do I do with this $80 million? Anyway, but on that note, Pedro, if you notice this, our DYOR chart here, we started with the $25,000 seed round a couple weeks ago. And I do this paper trading. We're not trading real because we don't want to do anything. But this is a lot of user influences here and not Pedro's very stickly chart of or checklist of 120 things that have to go right here. This is users saying, hey, this is a good thing, or what are we feeling? I use it as a marketing thing to get more viewers to engage with us. Hopefully it's working. I can't add stag to this because we're using CoinMarketCap, and guys aren't on CMC yet. But if you notice, we're up to almost $31,000. Past 24 hours, we're up 2,000 because of the Jasmy pump. We are at we hold $4,000 of Jasmy now because we bought it $1,000 at 3 cents, and now it's at 14 cents. Good problems to have, let me tell you that. Good problems to have, but we're doing pretty well. Our best performer is Jasmy. Right now, main net C's sucking it for us. Down a few from where we bought it. Dimension is up from where we bought it. We're up $277. But Jasmy taking the winner here. Even BNB up $1,000. So we're doing all right with a broad investment across a bunch of different things. And we always need to add things. But I wish I could add stag to it. But wait till CMC. Any hope on CMC, you stag guys, before you run off? Not hope, but a timeline or anything like that. Let us know. CMC does track stag. Yes, Lord Baltimore. Nice gains, but and we're not in Bitcoin right now. We got lucky with.
Got out because we had some supply. We went long. Remember, we went long. Let me jump back here to it. We went long too quick because I said we want to wait for the sell-off, and then we were negative.
Yeah, we forgot to buy back in.
No. I think you held on to it, and then when I think we were like $500. We were at $500, and we let it run. I think you sold it. I forget.
Yeah, we made like $600 or something like that. The only stag I see in CoinMarketCap is something that Rug pulled a while ago. Stag. There's an ETH stag. I don't think that's it. Anyway, if you guys got a link to anything about that would certainly help. Yes, sir, Mr. Pedro.
On a news-related sense, so I guess Trump can no longer do business in New York.
Oh, he got banned from New York?
Yeah.
Oh, that warms my heart. In his own home state.
I just don't see, these things are stupid because they play little games, right? And then when they need like him or something's going to happen, when he's going to need, it's like stupid things like that just get in your way. Like those little I feel like those little small things are like, hey, look.
Thank you, Matt Rhodes, for bringing the Stag crew here today. Really appreciate it, guys. Good luck with your VC today and your announcement. May your chart pump to the moon. Thanks for joining in. Come join us next week, tomorrow when we're on the show, 12 o'clock, 12:15, somewhere in there. Thanks, gentlemen and ladies. Feel free to come back when it's over.
Come on in. Thanks for coming, guys. Boom. Yeah. So it's really interesting to sit there and see like how now that we're getting closer to the whole entire election and everything that is happening. It is just really interesting to see all the stupid things that are happening. Like, and I think we're gonna see a lot more stupid things, like just little bickery stuff that's actually that just I just expected it, and it just drives me nuts. This stuff just drives me nuts because then it fuels dissension within families and dissension, and come November, man, it's gonna be ugly.
Oh, it's going to be brutal.
This time.
But I got to tell you, let's do a little devil's advocate here. You're the regulators in the state of New York, and you have Wall Street. You have all the biggest Fortune 500 foreign companies with headquarters in New York, and never mind the center of the commercial real estate industry is in New York. All things that Trump is involved with, and you want to make sure, and it's hard to regulate, the entire world's economy coming through your city. And you want to make sure that people are following the rules, that they register their companies properly, they pay their taxes properly, they are honest on their business documents and all this type of stuff. And then this chumbalone comes along and lies on all of those things. He lies on the valuation of things to get banks to give him more credit and all this type of stuff. He lies on his financial documents he submits to the state, and they have different books for different people. That's not how. I mean, I've been in the accounting kind of field for a long time too, and it's not how they train you to do things unless you're a scammer, And it's like truck drivers that run 2 sets of books. That's not what you're supposed to do. Eventually, you're going to get caught, and when you do, bad stuff's going to happen. And when Trump's running 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets of books, depending on who he gives them to, in one area, in both of them, and all of them say these are true and accurate statements. They both can't be true. And so here you are, the regulators, finding someone that's just blatantly violating all of the rules. And you just say, look, you know what, we're done. You've got to fight. I don't know. I'm guessing he's not banned forever. I'm guessing he's got a suspension or something like that. But you got to draw the line somewhere. You got to say, look, that's enough. That's enough. I mean, I've had companies that were the state regulators have come back and said, hey, this company's no longer allowed to do business because you didn't file your annual report in time. And I'm like, all right, I only had to pay a $50 fine, but I didn't scam the government out of $300 million in lost taxes and stuff like that by cheating the system. Lord Baltimore, speaking of truck drivers, New York City residents better stock up on beans and rice.
Oh, snap. Because all the immigrants? Is that why? I'm trying to understand.
I don't know. It's going on in Chicago, too. It's brutal. And they brought all their criminal gangs and stuff like that from Venezuela and stuff.
Oh, really?
And the local gangs are not happy, and it's just it's brutal. Truckers are going to stop deliveries to protest the Trump ruling. Yeah, that'll last about a week until wifey calls and says, hey, if you're not driving, we ain't making money, and the mortgage is due. And they'll be like, okay, honey, I'll take the loads to New York.
That's real interesting because I know, like, with all that, see, this is what I'm saying, right? That little thing could very much cause a bunch of hoopla and dealing with, it's the nuances that causes the explosions. It's the final thread that unravels everything. It's the what's it called? The straw that broke the camel's back. It's that those small little things then causes civil unrest because it's just this irritant among the populace by regulators. And again, I don't feel like they should be doing stupid things like that. He's such a public figure and can cause so much division between the regular populace. Not that you give him carte blanche to do whatever he wants, but you sit there and you make it open, like, hey, we have these paperwork. You have not done this. You need to do this. And post it on, social media saying, this is what we need. This is what you're saying. This is what's not correct. And make it very open and honest versus sitting there saying, you're done. Because here's again, there are going to be people out there that will swing and they will not hear the other side. They'll just simply say he's being bullied by XYZ And so it's just those small things. I don't think it's smart. I just don't think it's smart as a leader, as a
You
group
are
of
fake
leaders,
news.
to do that. I just don't.
You are fake news.
Sorry, Pedro.
You are fake
You're
news.
fake news.
You don't think that should happen? I mean, do you think
Nobody should get a break like that. No, I don't care if he's a public figure, the former president. He violated the rules more than anyone else. He needs to pay the price. And I mean, imagine if, here's a good example, CZ and Binance. If he was just some chumbalone day trader from Virginia, you know, and he'd money laundered a couple little things here and there for some friends and said, oh, wrote an email, ignore that, you know, or route it through Russia or something like that. The government would be like, all right, you know, this is not good. You're going to get arrested for this and all this kind of stuff. But you're not going to be made to pay $4 billion in fines and potentially lose your freedom for 10 to 20 years. If they make public displays out of high-profile people to dissuade others from doing it, you know? So, you know,
But here's the thing: there are other people who do stupid things like that.
Yeah,
He's
you're
not
right.
The only one.
Right.
And the problem is he is such a divisive individual, and he does lie. There are things that are said that he says that aren't true, right? Like I absolutely don't disagree with you in that. But there are certain things that you need to be like as a leader, right? Like I've led people, you know, in the military. There are certain things that you just are not worth the you ran a business, and I know you're not supposed to run government like businesses, but I think that's one of the primary reasons why we're in the mess that we're in. I.e., let me show my chart right here, U.S. debt, right, and what's actually happening with that, right?
Pedro's favorite chart. I always interested in see what ads are on Pedro's browsers when he shows the windows.
The only thing, what do I have? I don't even know what I have.
Oh, hold on, but as I was going to say, as for Trump in New York, it's just game over.
I just think it's dumb. I think it's dumb for what they're doing. Absolutely.
My retro '80s games noise.
And they're causing unneeded strife that doesn't need to be. At least right now, not going into the I mean, like with the state simply saying he's not allowed to be on the ballots there. Like that's like, why would you do that? Like,
I don't like that the individual states get to decide that. There needs to be a mechanism for saying that. Royal Q, welcome from Zimbabwe. A Royal Q in the house. I think I got a thing for you there. Royal Q, where'd it go? I thought I had one here.
Whatever.
Oh.
It's giving Zimbabwe. It's giving Zimbabwe.
It's giving Zimbabwe.
Giving Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. That's awesome, dude.
Would like to see Victoria Falls someday. Would like to do that someday.
That'd be nice. That'd be real nice. Real nice.
Everyone give a shout out to Royal Q coming to us from one of the southernmost points in the hemisphere that you can live in, country of Zimbabwe. Obviously a lot more people south in South Africa, but it's way down there, but thanks to the fiber optics, he's here with us. All right, what else we got going on here today, Pedro?
We got a few things going on. I think what's really interesting is how Gary Gensler said because of the push for Ethereum, or not Ethereum, for Bitcoin ETF, he's actually going to hold off on what's actually going on with the ETH ETF. So I sat there and I was just like, that's just why.
Doesn't make any sense.
Again, why? Like, why would you do that?
What? Why? Wait a minute. Don't you remember what I said a while ago, Pedro?
Yes, I do.
Pedro Garcia. What Thomas Herlihy said a couple of weeks ago, before the ETF, Bitcoin ETFs were launched, was that Gary Gensler was enjoying being the man. And that's his character flaw. That's his character flaw, and everybody has a character flaw, but unfortunately his manifests itself in a very public way. And he's enjoying being the man. And as soon as the Bitcoin ETFs were approved, then the banks and everybody stopped sucking up to him. And they didn't have to call on him every day and come begging and all this type of stuff. Trading was going, billions are flowing. All right, Gary, thanks, you're done, bye. And that's how it is in business. And people take advantage of you or want your access or want everything until they get it. And if they don't have anything else on the radar, they're like, okay, we're done with you now. Not like throwing you away and kicking you. I mean, just like, okay, they move on. And he's not the center of attention anymore. All of a sudden, he sees the way to just like pull back that attention. So he's the guy again, getting the calls to be on CNBC now. You know, he's on the show now on CNBC fairly regularly. Apparently he's got a personal stylist and makeup. One website was comparing his suits from a few years ago to now, and he's all better now, and he has a good makeup person. So he's really trying to get rid of to improve his reputation because he knows he's going to get fired soon. So as long as he can be the man and cultivate the influence, then that makes him feel good and potentially sets the future for a lucrative job when he's out of the SEC. So that's my opinion on that, you know, and I'll say that it's my opinion, but I believe it's the truth.
It's really interesting to see how he's actually trying to really get a better look. Because, I mean, look, you know, we've had some pretty, like, in past presidents, right? Like Thomas Jefferson, probably easily one of the smartest presidents we've ever had, ever. I mean, just incredibly brilliant as a person. But if you were to actually talk to him, he stuttered a lot. He wasn't the most communicative individual, right? And
oh, sorry, I'm probably pumping that back through the.
Yeah.
I just popped the Stag VC into my ear just to monitor it.
And so, but I say this because as an individual, you know, like if you would to have put him in today's market, he also wasn't the most kept man, right? Like he was, you know, kind of disheveled, and people talked about, you know, he would have dust on his like shoulders and stuff because he was always in books. Like legitly, he was a great brain. And what's interesting is in today's world, he would have never been the president because he doesn't have and nor did he care to try to have any public appearance, right? To try to sit there and woo people. And so, you know, obviously Gensler understands how things work, and he's like, you know what? I could have a great brain or be doing the smart things, but that doesn't mean anything because if people do not like me or my look, I'm basically screwed. So it's really interesting to sit there and see how that all works. You know, like he knows that. He absolutely knows that, and it's smart. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I hope people don't like him because he's smarting up. You know.
I don't know. Personally, I would be very happy if he were to take a back seat at the SEC, either as not the commissioner anymore and just a director. Or not the chairman, but just a regular commissioner, and give Hester Pierce a shot. I love reading her tweets and her papers and her dissensions. Interesting, I don't know if many of you know this, but on the SEC, when the SEC makes a decision, they put the approval of the decision or the reason for the decision. But then if other commissioners disagree, they put those dissensions on their own website too, and so you can see where Hester Pierce disagrees with Gary on almost everything, and the reasons why, and it's very interesting. And when you read them, you're like, yeah, she should be commissioner. He's very pro-business, pro still checking out, or not pro-business, but pro getting the innovation done and new products and moving along the market.
She's pro-economy,
right?
Business cycle. She's pro-business cycle and understands the way the debt and the way securities work in relationship to the business cycle.
Yep, that's how it is. Wish that would, wish that would happen one day. Wish it would.
I don't think they will. That's a very. I mean, we had not Caitlin Wood. Wouldn't that be dope if one day we had Caitlin Woods here? No, excuse me, not Caitlin Woods.
Kathy Woods.
Kathy Woods. That'd be dope. But let's talk about Caitlin Long. Caitlin Long just straight says the SEC's a good old boys group. Like, it's a straight up a bunch of guys and they're just very much. I'm sorry, dude. Dude, she just says it's a good old boys crew, and that's it. And like, it's gonna take a lot. For her to even get there and to be completely flying in the face of Gensler is one of those things that it could either hurt her or it could be her Midas touch right now. It just depends on if he gains more popularity.
He's not gaining any popularity. He's not popular in anyone's book at all. Even the people that he helps in business and with the banks and so forth, they still hate him. Anyway, let's get back to the topic of the day. And I realize this may not be a cooker of a topic here, but I've got the graphic up here for Jasmy here, and for those of you who don't know, Jasmy is trying to revolutionize the way that data about ourselves is held and used. There's Facebook, Meta, and Google, and all these big data mining companies that just hoover everything up. And what Jasmy is trying to do is to create a way in which your data is held by you on the blockchain, and you monetize it by allowing it to be used in certain places or not used. Or however you can monetize it is up to you. It means that you're in full control of your data. And that's an interesting concept. I don't know how the hell it could ever be pulled off. But they innovated this over in Japan, which has been lacking innovation lately because of their crypto rules on innovation and investment. That's changing and easing. The regulators over there got to a point where they're like, all right, we overreacted. The market's settled. It's matured now. I don't know. When was Mt. Gox, Pedro? 2014 it crashed? Yep. So it's been almost 10 years since that. It's been 9 years since they implemented the new rules. And they're like, all right, we need to ease this. Unlike the U.S. government with Elizabeth Warren. We'll talk about that in a little bit, too. Are we
going to bring John on?
Yeah, I'm reaching out to. I reached out to his group.
Gotta get John to come on.
But with Jasmy here, they formed in Japan, did it the old school way, and now the world is saying, hey, we like their product. Japan's eased the rules a little bit, and Sony, the backers of Jasmine are a bunch of Sony executives or former Sony executives or both or whatever, and some other key people. Basically persuaded the regulators. All right, this is getting a little crazy, and so kind of in like a 1 week period, and you notice this because Jasmy's up 94% a week. They got a little bit easier regulation. They announced a deal with I don't know what the deal is, but they announced something with PlayStation also, and they announced. Something else. I had this whole thing in my head to talk about this, and we saw this massive pumpage. It went from 3 cents to all that. Oh, hold on, sorry, I got the stag VC in my ear too. But here, this is what I want to point out. Japan has always been very innovative over the years. And frankly, Japan's very interesting to me. The whole class-based society and the salaryman, all the way up to the emperor and all that type of stuff, it's a living lesson in history, and how human civilizations have formed, and this type of stuff, and cultures and all that. And I've only been to Japan once for exactly 24 hours when I missed a flight. And I had to spend 24 hours there, but it was very interesting. So when this topic kind of came up, I was like, oh, let's talk about them a little bit here. But what Japan is very good at is putting their collective ideas together and rocking and rolling. And that's why, even though Japan is not one of the largest countries by land or by population, but they have one of the largest economies in the world, one of the strongest currencies, and all this type of good stuff going for them. And once the regulators back off a little bit, they're going to put their collective mind together in the crypto industry and come up with some whoppers of projects. And you'll see it. And they'll get quick adoption because the Japanese tend to buy their own first because it's part of their culture, the language, this type of stuff is all very interesting or very easy for them to understand and participate in. Frankly, as a influencer or someone that's on a lot, I get a lot of people coming to me saying, "Hey, I have a Japanese channel. They're not going to watch your channel even if you put the translations on, because that's you talk about things in a different way than they understand." And so I get that. But once they put their collective mind behind the crypto thing, you're going to see a bunch of new innovations like this come out, and I think we should really keep our eye on it. I mean, you put 100 million retail users, and then that smaller percentage, say 500,000 or even 50,000 VC and innovators into a single industry, you're going to get amazing results. And I'm looking for good things to come out of Japan. I think it's a market that I'm going to try and get someone to report on here and talk about. Because when a new market opens, that means investment's going to flow in. And if it's not being gobbled up here in the U.S., it's going to flow in there for sure. Pedro, why don't you bring up the Jasmine chart again? Or unless you do have it up, and I just didn't have it on the screen.
Yep.
Holy crap. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, what's that, the daily?
Yeah, this is the daily.
Jeez.
Yeah, it literally went from 10 to 15 cents. The peak was 17 cents. So it's sitting nice, man. If you look at the intra time frames here, you can see, man, it's decent. As we were pushing up for it, though, like I say, and I always bring this up, we didn't put in a lot of demand wicks as we were moving up here. So to me, I sit there, I'm like, well, and we were putting a lot of supply wicks. So I do see, I expect a bit of a sell-off here. But again, dude, it exploded. And over the last few days, you can sit there and see what's actually happening with the actual chart itself. So as we're moving
what's their
up,
market cap anyway? I had their up, but I changed it for our portfolio.
Oh, give me 1 second. I can pull that up here. Where is my coin market cap? Yeah, my bad. We'll go to sit there and coin market cap. I'm gonna go Jasmy. Jasmy coin.
Check 1 2 1 2.
There we go. So the market cap is about 700 mil. Yeah, 700 mil, and they've over the last 3-4 days. Yeah, over the last 4 days, 5 days, it's literally just. I mean, it went from, what is this? 12 cents all the way up to.
Such a great problem to have, huh?
Yeah, not a bad problem. Not a bad problem. But the backside behind it, and I bring this up just with it, they've been higher. Jasmy's been higher. It looks like that their peak. No, why is that happening? Jasmy is that 14 cents? Or
hey guys, just thought I'd pop in the middle of our show here and say good job with the VC today, and looking forward to good things to come.
Yeah, we heard you. Forgot to.
Cheers.
It's
as you might suspect. This is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here, calling in from live on the air with the DYOR Media Network, and our show with Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, called DYOR Live, which we talk about crypto projects, news of the day, policy and regulations, and also have good projects on, like this group called Stag. Gotta say, they come in and they bomb our chat. It's a good job.
But
all right, gentlemen, see you later. All right, thanks for putting. I just popped into their VC to bone them up a little bit and get them going.
That's what she said. No.
Boom. Dun, dun.
Yeah, dude. And basically within a couple days, man, they went from 298 or 300 mil to about looks like 700 mil for their market cap. So it's not a bad problem to have on their end, in relationship to where they're getting. And they've been at 1.3 billion height for Jasmy coin. So looking at coin market cap, when they launched back in October of 2021, they've been at this game for a minute. This isn't their first rodeo. And watching them, like if you just look at their chart through this bear market, it went all the way down to 33 mil. So I mean, just the people sitting right here at the 33 mil. I mean, think, dude, sitting at 70 mil or 700 mil. Excuse me, like 70 mil, bro, is a 2x, right? So we're talking that's a 20x, and there was a lot of accumulation at these levels here.
Yeah. Fintech, new viewer, Fintech Fuse, says, do you think Jasmy will surpass its all-time high during this bull market? Well, that's a pretty long call for Pedro there, but...
well, it depends, because if they can... I always talk about the community. If the community really rallies and gets and takes on the responsibility that they are the maker and breaker of their coin, right? Kind of like how IE... why am I forgetting what they're called?
You bet, Chuck. We'll talk about BNB in just a second here.
SaveMoon's community realized they were the breaker and maker of their own community and their own chart.
Yep.
And they rallied and told everybody and their mama's, uncle's, dad's cat.
Man, it was like every other TikTok that I would get would be SafeMoon. By then, I was already invested in it.
And so it all depends on how they realize their the potential, right? And if they can garner real support with people jumping on and get it going, then yeah, dude, this peak will just be a blip. They very much could be a 20. I mean, they're revolutionizing how data is stored and put onto the blockchain relationship with social media networks.
I just remembered the third thing I was going to say about them. You broke my my blockage here.
Sorry.
Apparently, they've signed up 10 clients to do this, like actual, like paying clients. Like we know a lot of crypto projects, you know, they say they're going to do all these things, but nothing do they do actually bring in external money. And so when you can bring in external money, like people using their Visa cards or using their company wire transfers to pay you, good things happen. It means you have income and that type of stuff. And apparently that income somehow finds its way into the price of the token. I don't know how that works and all that kind of stuff. But they've signed up actual customers and are getting going with this thing. And so if they're doing that, then that can only be a good thing. I mean, businesses don't, rely on other businesses unless they know it's going to help them achieve their goals. They don't just go, "Hey, that's cool. Let's just hire them as a vendor to do that." No, they go through, what is our return of investment on this? If we invest, $50,000 in this vendor supplying us with this information, could we better use that money, $50,000, just drinking beer with it, or investing it in the stock market, or they do this. So when they've business, because I was, a business procurement guy for a long time, running my own business. If I was going to spend $200 and some $1,000 on something, I'd want to know, is that the best use of that money? So the fact that Jasmy's getting people to turn on the money spigot and use their product, that's just a good thing.
I agree. Absolutely.
So Fintech Fuse, do you think Jasmy will surpass its all-time high during this bull market? From a fundamental point of view, I believe so. I think the bull market will drive the interest in it, and also if they're having customers sign up, and hopefully they have like something like the crypto version of an analyst call, and we'll listen to that and see how they're onboarding clients. And if they're onboarding clients, that price is going to go. So thanks for your question. Really appreciate it. And thanks for subscribing. You seem to be new to us, unless it's just a different screen name and we know you from Telegram somewhere else. But Pedro always asks the question, where are you coming to us from? And I always like to know how you found us. So if you'd be so kind as to answer that in the comments, how you found us, I'd really appreciate it. And that's Jasmine, ladies and gentlemen. And we're, just so you know, if you missed it before, our portfolio, our show portfolio is invested in Jasmine at 3 cents. Because Pedro called it. He called it. He said this is a good spot to buy. It was at 5 cents at the time. Pedro, it's going to drop down into 3. Let's pick it up there. It hit it tagged our order.
0.003.
Yeah, right. 3.
0.003.
Yeah, right. 0.003.
So one of the things I want to bring up as well is this. So did they dilute their on the drop of, because we're talking, this is, I'm realizing there, and as I look at both charts here, Jasmy with Uncoin market cap, right? Like their peak here was 1.2 bill, right? So did they dilute their? I'm just trying to think. Like market cap was 500 mil. Right now they're at. I'm trying to think. Why is this? Am I thinking? How am I? So their peak was 1.32 billion, and right now they're sitting at 600 bill or 600 mil.
I'm just doing my Vanna White
So we're
impersonation
talking all they would need is literally a double, a 2x to get, or to get to the next all-time high, which is 1.3
Right.
billion. So it's not much. I mean, it's a lot of money that they're gonna have to pump in and get it going, but they, from a institutional standpoint, yes, that's a lot, but not when we really start to see money funneling money into this project. And if they're making money for themselves, and based on how much money, dude, they could buy their own chart.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Sorry, I just sat on my monitor here real quick.
Right.
I've got to get a better one of these things.
They could sacrifice X amount of coins. They could do some, what do you call some tokenomic play, and send it to
Well, that's what the stock. That's what public companies do. They say, all right, our stock price is on. Actually, what happens is that the executives' options get either at break even or a little underwater, and suddenly they say our stock price is undervalued. Well, we're going to donate, $10 billion in free cash to buying our own stock, and then suddenly they've got $100 billion worth of value added to the company, and their options are worth a lot when they should have done dividends instead. I hate one of my problems with share buybacks is that the alternative is dividends, and they should do dividends. Companies are more healthy when they get people holding them to account for dividends. Royal Q says, is Bitcoin catfishing us? Like, it's catfishing us right now. It's just doing nothing. it's just chilling. But Chuck asked us to go over BNB. Why don't we switch out of the land of the rising sun for a while right now and look at BNB. BNB's been good to Pedro and I lately. Thank you, Crypto Mike, for making me put it into the show portfolio. BNB.
We should have waited, though. We could have been doing much more better for us.
Absolutely.
It did sell off.
It did exactly what you said it was going to do, and I didn't listen to you.
No, we bought early, and it rallied. Or excuse me, it dropped, and I wanted to wait. Remember?
Yeah.
Then
and it went down to 270. We bought it at like 309 or something like that. At the 270.
We bought way up like here. And it was like $300 when we bought, and then it dropped all the way down to here, which I said it would probably most likely drop down to these lower levels. So, I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. It's the point.
Yeah, we bought here. You're moving around too much. We bought here. It went down to here, and then it went there. Where's it going, Pedro? It's still going up, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So. As you guys can see here, we've hit this area of supply, and we tried, it bounced off. It all depends, as it's rallying even harder as we're moving, people are getting ready for this bull run as if it's going to start getting going again. And you can see here that as we start to see more, this is the other part. There's been a lot of news about BNB, right? And what's actually happening with
the new CEO of BNB. I can't remember his name. Finance.
He's doing some good stuff. So the stuff that he's doing, and he's honestly distancing distancing himself away from CZ and some of the other things. So they're really trying to kind of do a rebranding of themselves, and the community within crypto is liking it, as you guys can see, because they're actually pushing it higher. It is putting in a pretty decent amount of volume, right? Every time we see red days, it's it's not a lot, as well as green days are always picking up in volume. So yeah, I expect to see us at least come up into this 377 to 314, 313 area here. At least come into this area. We should see some resistance kick in, because this is a monthly and weekly zone. So as you can see here, here's our monthly, here's our weekly zone, and this level here. So the reality is as I'm looking at this, and I just moved this up here actually. Let me go to pull this up. Monthly. So here's the month, but we already tapped into this. I'm gonna actually lift this up to
it in. Tap
so
it in.
Tap it in. All right, boom. So you can sit here and see. There's our day. Yep. So I actually I'm gonna push this even a little higher and say it could come up to that even number on 400, 397 to 413 area. So this is a decent area for it to rally from 366 up to that's a good 30 points there, which would be about 0.5% of the market move. So that's not bad, 30, no, not 0.5, almost 1%, 0.7%. No, 330, no, it's 10%. Sorry, 10.5, so 5%. So that $30 could be literally a pretty decent move up to this point. And then expect to see some type of resistance kick in at this level, because this is really like that real initial drop that we saw come in from the final leg that we saw before it started consolidating. And that's this point right here. So I would expect to see some real sell-off, maybe back into the 340 area, and then a rally back up. Or what you could see is a basing period of hitting it, kind of like what we're seeing with Bitcoin, us hitting this area and just basing along this area and pushing through based off where and how fast we get up here. Simply because if we put a big push up real quick, I expect to push down. But if we grind up, okay, and start to just base off of this area here, well, then I expect us to push, because we're, like I said, we're a month and a half away from the actual halving, so, or the halvening happen. So it's really going to be interesting to see how it plays. But that's how I see it. Also want to point out, if we start to really push hard, you can see as we are pushing hard out of this area, you can see how we're finding support on this 8-period moving average right here. So expect us to come back down and find support on that 8-period moving average as well. So that's it in a nutshell. Let's actually kind of go over just the Rolodex of the top 10 here real quick. XRP is basically doing what I said it would probably most likely do, is come back down here.
You know what? Let's give XRP another minute or so here. I have a couple of questions for you about the XRP.
Yeah. Well, XRP just there was it. I saw some news about them today. What was it? Standard forecast retirement. No. Bitcoin.
As many of you know, if you listen to me complain a lot about Ripple and their CDBC, their pro central bank CBDCs, pro central bank digital coins, and they're lobbying governments all over the world to institute them because that's what their products are. But they're also on the other side of the house. They're the ones fighting the SEC, so where everyone thinks they're heroes. But XRP, their token just does not do well because Ripple funds their operations by selling it. They've got $28 billion worth in their trust of it, or some crazy number that they managed to get out of the system when it pumped in the 2017s. And they constantly sell. So they sell the chart to pay all the salaries of this great organization that they put together, which is called massive amounts of employees. So I've been down on it and saying, well, it just can't pump that well because they keep selling the chart. However, there's been a lot of chatter from respectable sources on the great internets that XRP is due for a correction upwards. What is your opinion of that?
Well, news today came out that Ripple CEO endorses idea of XRP ETF aiming for broader crypto adoption. So the idea is that if there is going to be an ETF that comes out, obviously we're going to see something similar to what we saw. But in that same sense, I would expect us to see a sell-off then, right? Where they can get in at these lower levels. Now, yes, they have a lot of stuff going for them. But the fact is that they have to sell off major portions of their coin. It's kind of a dirty thing. I mean, they're selling on their, as it continues higher, they're going to sell. I mean, if I'm a holder of XRP, okay, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, all right, I want to get in at a low level. I know as soon as it moons that the CEO is going to sell off on this. And in addition to that, if I know that, again, I'm buying in on the ETF side and I know that the institution is sitting there selling on me, why am I going to buy that?
Right.
That's
exactly.
like the CEO. That's like the CEO sitting there like we know that Amazon has been, or that Jeff Bezos has been selling Amazon for a while now, right? I think partly it's doing really good. We know though that from a cyclical standpoint of the U.S. economy, we're having a slowdown. So he's taking profit, right? If every time the CEO or the organization sells on you when you're doing well, are you going to keep buying it? No. At least with Amazon, I know that there are thousands of institutional clients that literally buy Amazon. Like they it's in their portfolio to buy.
Right.
It's like at least he knows. At least Bezos knows when on a green day he's selling to institutions.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We're here, like on green days. Like who are the institutions going to come in? No, because the actual organization, not the CEO, but the organization itself is literally running itself. It doesn't have a business standpoint. It's not like it's bringing a ton of money to be actually working. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to sit there because and I'm not a fundamental guy, but here's the thing. We've broken now the 8-period moving average. If we could have gotten past this 200-day period moving average,
Can you make that a little bigger?
Yeah. Like we couldn't get above the 200-period moving average. Like we popped it, we tried to, but now it's selling off. And it all depends. We have the 400-period moving average sitting at 50 cents, 52 cents. So by me looking at this, we're not really, and there's not even really a good demand here. Like it's already been traded through, like 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. So it's like, it depends. I would be more apt as an individual to maybe, like, if I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy it down at these lower levels. I'm not going to get in at these higher levels. I'm just not. Because it's like, I'm not going to run into Mike Tyson punching me in the face.
No. Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah, but I'm not going to run into it. I'm going to try to dodge it. Like, right what I'm saying? Like, at least, like, if I know Mike Tyson is going to be punching, I'm dodging.
Drano in the house. Got some mainnet Z peeps in the house. Drano, thanks for watching, tuning in, and all that type of stuff. We've had a fun day getting towards the end of the show, but thanks for joining in. Bring your friends, ask your questions, whatever you need to do. We're here for you. Thanks, Drano, for joining in.
Tell your moms, tell your uncles.
Tell your moms.
Yeah, so this is, if I am going to get in, I'm looking to get in at these lower levels here. Just absolutely. That 51 cent, 52 cent area, potentially, bouncing off of that, the 400-period moving average here. So, I don't know. It depends. We didn't put any major hike here. So, again, it just depends. I expect to see it even go lower here, like 47, 46 area, because, again, it's not like the institution is making, it's not like Jasmy, where Jasmy actually has a business that actually is running really, really well. I mean, am I wrong? Like they've been subpoenaed and like told to stop running their own business, correct? Between the banks.
XRP?
Yes.
Yeah, but they got out of it. I mean, they're running their business. They're getting paid for it. Clearly, it's not enough money yet. They're still spending. The amount of money they spend on things is unbelievable. They hire, law firms and lobbyist firms in every country of the world, and the salaries that they pay people and the amount of engineers they hire to design stuff of what I don't know what it is, but their staff is huge. I mean, it's massive. They have a big place in San Francisco. They have a big place in New York. I don't know. So one of these days we'll get someone from XRP or a former XRP person or something. If you're a former XRP employee, let us know what's going on here. This should pump. It should. They got so much inertia and such a huge community. It should pump like crazy, and it doesn't.
Yep.
Doesn't.
Yep. And so that's why I sit there and I'm like, it's just sad. It's kind of sad. Like they're using their own people for fodder, and there are people that are.
I know, and it's so hard. I can't imagine any business. The two businesses that I've owned, it was always a struggle for money. Like every small business, you were thinking about, you had long-term plans, but you're thinking about making payroll next week. Imagine having $28 billion worth of reserve funds, and knowing if you sell $1 billion of it over time, and there's just any sort of good news, the value of what you have left goes back up to 28 billion or 30 billion. And so in essence, what you've done the worst thing you can do: sell your company's assets, yet your company's worth more. It's like when Jeff Bezos got divorced, and they came to agreement, and she's just like, give me 25 billion so I can set up a good charity and give money away. And he's like, fine, here. And like 2 weeks later, the Amazon stock pumped so much, he made that 25 billion back. It's like,
yeah, and so did she.
Right,
She did very well.
Exactly. She did extremely well. And these are good problems to have for people. But ultimately, I think it leads to bad decisions because you don't concentrate. A business that is scrounging for money and is operating very efficiently and eyeballing its market exactly right, and it's not spending lavishly on stuff, it will eat your lunch all day if they come out with a better product. If they don't have enough money to develop a better product, they won't. But if you're fat and happy, eventually that party's going to end, And the fat and happy people and organizations all do the same thing. They die early. And it's because bad things happen. And so XRP needs to get lean and mean, and I don't know how they're going to do that.
Right now we know that 1 month Treasury bond yields are literally 5.39%. Excuse me, 99%. Like that's good money. Like if I've got $28 billion, can they grab that and put that into the Treasury? Or is that purely is that coinage itself, or is that like USDT?
No, they have a foundation set up, and that foundation releases a certain amount of tokens to them per month. So they don't have access to it all at once, and so they get an allocation every month from their foundation, and that funds the party, as they say. And they use it for all sorts of things. I'm not the master of it, but they use it for funding internal operations. But they also use it for like what foundations do in crypto, and they fund projects and developers and all this type of stuff to do things on their system. But they're basically relying on 2017's money to fund their operations now. And it's entirely possible I could be speaking out my ass here, but I read the news, I follow the lobby reports, I look them up, who they're lobbying and that type of stuff, and you just get this idea about them like they need to shit or get off the pot. Let's put it that way.
Isn't XLM
Stellar's doing the same thing, yeah. And I like Stellar XRM too. I like it because they're fast, they're easy to buy and sell. Although I must say they're getting more difficult to trade, and I don't know why. You know, a bunch of organizations that used to carry Stellar and trade them now do not. But they're also out there pushing the CBDC things, and like I commented on a thread. There was a big show in Turkey for central bank digital currencies and other government digital assets type stuff. And Stellar and Ripple were posting all of these things, showing their salesmen at their little booths, selling stuff. And I've spent ages of my life at trade shows. I know what goes on there. You shill your products just like people come online and shill stuff here in the comments. And I made some comments there. Wasn't very nice. I don't mean I was mean. I just was like, oh, look, people here are selling the end of the world. It's selling centralization of power and control of all your money to governments. And I tell you, I got some hate from those people.
Nice.
But
that's nice.
Had to be said. Got to be said. All right, Pedro, let's get on with some of the other ones here to wrap this show up here. If any of you guys got any topics, Drano, I came up with one for you. LeBron James. Drano for draining the hoops. So he gets the LeBron James sound effect.
LeBron James, look at that! I got the king over here. Hey, dude, people get upset just saying that, right? Just calling him the king. Woo! See, people get real quick. Especially the Kobe and the Jordan
camp.
Crowd.
Yeah. The intro I played the other day, I found on my my sound effects thing. I mistakenly think that everything I find on my paid-for sound effects machine is licensable. It's not. And I played something that was the Bulls used for their intro, and it's called the Michael Jordan theme, and it's the beginning of Lunatic Fringe and a bunch of other songs mashed together. And the YouTube copyright machine went, bzz, 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 bzz. No. Very, very bad. But as far as I can tell, the LeBron James is all good.
Hopefully we'll find out. So XLM, very similar to chart-wise as we're looking at here. Pretty, it's playing off of that 400 period moving average. We're coming back down into that same level. If I'm going to play,
wow, their chart's very similar, even with the sell-off today.
Yeah, almost exactly. It's interesting. We hit my area that I actually posted on my show back in 2022. Right here, it's really interesting because I put this out here. I remember doing it, and we were sitting about right here. And I said, expect this to come down to here. And then from here, and I actually got I think it was up here. I got a lot of hate from a few people on my comment section. I said, well, it's going to probably hit it.
Yeah, Pedro, look at that. It hit Pedro's spot right here. You can see my arrow here, ladies and gentlemen. Hit his call there, came back, hit it there too, and then said, all right, I bounced off it 3 times, and boom, went up. But apparently the party could not be sustained. And then it tanked.
So it's gonna be really interesting to see. I mean,
but this is such a typical crypto chart, though, Pedro. Sorry for my intro.
All right.
The pump here, I'm drawing it on my screen. Then it sells off, and then everyone's like, all right, it sold off, and then they're like, oh no, we still love this product, and then it just died. I mean, this is obviously the November 2020, January 22 time frame. Pumps back up and then comes down. The money comes out. Bear market. Oh, everything sucks. Oh yes, all right, it's back. No, oh, everything sucks. It's how many charts look like that, ladies and gentlemen? Like all of them?
Like thousands.
Yeah.
Like literally. I mean, it's very, very few. The only one that I can truly say is looking and this is what blew me away, right? Was Tron. Tron is one of those ones I'm just like, what are they doing? They're doing, look at TRX, dude. TRX, bro, has been flying. Legit.
Wow, shit,
we were
that's
down
pumping too. God, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Man, wait.
I said right here. What's up?
I'm like, why didn't we buy it? Yeah, look, you said it right here. Here's your zone. Yeah. Right in here. How much did it go
Yeah.
up? It went from 10 cents to what? What's it at? What's it at now?
13. It's in at 13. But what I'm saying though is this: is that from an actual like charting state, I don't know what Justin Sun is doing, right? But even with a small amount of volume, but consistently green, that's the part that I'm sitting there going like, people are just bullish on Tron. I mean, absolutely bullish. I mean, at 13 cents. And if I say if there's going to be a new all-time high,
Yeah,
in
they're
the
not
next
far
few
from
months-
it there.
Yeah, like look, they came in, and I'll put this up here, and I'll draw a new zone here.
Man, that actually looks like just like the Bitcoin chart.
Yeah, it's actually more, like, because they're literally, I think their peak here is 13 and 18 cents. What's that? It's 5 cents. That would be from the low 5 cents. From here, 4 cents. So from 4 cents all the way up to 14, 13, bro. 14, and that is 18.4. That's it. 18.7, 18.9, 9, 70%. I would say 70%, man. It's strong. Like it's real. It is strong. And the thing is it didn't even stop at my demand or at my supply. I mean, we had
It just
some
busted
sell-off
right
here.
through it.
Yeah, we had a few days.
They
of-
said, "Screw you, Pedro. We're going up,
Yeah.
and we're not listening to your red lines."
No, your red lines. They out of here, bro. And look, you can see it. They just, as you see, I try to make sure that I'm honest about where I place my zones at and everything. And it, we had some push down of it, but not much. You know what I'm saying? So it very much, and you can see here, we definitely, I remember this. I expected us to see a sell off down to these lower levels here, and we didn't. It just blew right through this on up. So, from a standpoint of a pullback, looked up, see, and here's the other thing: is that you see that 8-period moving average? We hit it once, so I would expect to see it pull back a little to maybe that 20-period moving average as we move up. But again, that all-time high is sitting right here, and I think if they hit all-time high, right, like we should see some form of just push.
What's
I
their
expect
market
to see
cap?
it.
It's Tron's
Give
market
me
cap.
one.
I don't know why I ask you. I have CoinMarketCap open literally right in front of me.
Okay, pull it up.
Dumbass.
That's all good.
12 billion.
Yeah, so 12 billion, man, at this market cap is sitting nice. 12 billion, I mean, just being honest, and comparative to think that they could potentially get to 50, 60 billion, 70 billion potentially.
The market's quite mixed today. I just popped my screen up here, and you can see the well, I guess it's behind me here. The chart, the green or reds, and Tron's the number 10 right now, and it's fully in the green with a nice volume today. And things are mostly kind of it's split. I'd say about 60% red, 40% green, or 55-45 split, something like that. But Tron's just moving up, and that was another one I remember talking about a while ago, saying if I had some money, I'd put it in it, and I didn't. Yeah.
Well, it's not that it's not gonna, you didn't miss out. I mean, the truth is a lot of these top 10, if you think about I think one day there will be trillions of dollars. Like 12 billion would be nothing. Right? You'd be like, man, I wish I would have got in at 12. Like I would expect to sell off again to come down into these 10 cent mark, 11 cent mark area here, 12 cent. But again, like this area here isn't that bad. And we're most likely going to, once we get up to this level here, we're going to see a sell-off. It isn't bad, right? That peak here at that 18, 17 cent mark is not a bad area. Actually, there was one. What was the other?
You know what I love? Leave your chart there for a second. I'm going to draw something on it. What I really love about this chart is if we go back to 2017 or whenever the super pump was, and how quickly it got there, right here in this short period of time here, it went from not much to its all-time high, and now it kind of reached its lows, and then it's just been slowly going up like that, and I love seeing that. I mean, this could end up this could very well end up doing that. But this long build up here of confidence and people holding, and whatever their largest buyers are, or whales, or whatever institutions, just kept it in check. Like whatever this sell was here, that's pretty weak. I mean, someone dumped a ton of it all at once and just said, "We're out of here." But now, a good project like Operation Phoenix. I'm not trying to shill them, but Operation Phoenix is their initial whales are slowly selling out, and the red candle goes down, but it wicks back up as the people buy it back up. It's a good thing, and this is kind of just reminding me of that slow growth. I like that a lot. And I don't want to buy it at the high of the recent run, though. I'd say I want to invest in it, but I don't want to buy. I want to see your pullback first.
It's really interesting because you just see now that they had a huge push up on the USDT, which is their stable coin. So you can actually see a lot of people buying their stable coin to whatever is happening here. It's almost an inverse because I remember this back in November of 2023. I actually knew somebody who knows Justin's son, went to business school with him, and I told her, I said, "Listen, you guys are literally this isn't." And this was back here, and then they had this sell off back in December, and I was sitting there going, "Look, I wasn't talking fine." I said, "Justin's son better do something about this because." If I'm an institution and I see that type of weakness where you have 90, it's depegging, and this was after the whole entire thing with with Do Kwon and everything. I said, man, this is a bad thing to have. But sure enough, man, I mean, look, they kept it strong. So actually, no, not here, down in here. This was last year, so it was right here is where I brought this in. When I saw this and I started seeing what was happening here. This is when I was doing, it was 2022, November. And I was telling her, I said, he got to do something about this because things are about to get crazy. And then sure enough, like, boom, you saw a big uptick, boom, and then came down. And then you saw it consolidate. This right here is, again, I mean, it doesn't bode well for you to sit there and say we are a dollar peg when it gets up almost 6%. Right now I got to pay a premium of 6%. For your dollar, but
I can't wait to buy something for $100. Buy something that's worth $1 for $1.06.
But ultimately, I am impressed with of them holding on to this and keeping it. People are whatever he did. Good job, man. Just straight up, good job. I respect that. So. It's Tron, and then there was something else I was going to bring up. Tron, Helium. Helium is another one that I was kind of stoked. I got into them, and Helium has been really, really pumping. I was actually last week. They were really, really pumping. So I got into a kind of a pullback in this level, and then I said, I literally was thinking, all right, well, they should see a sell-off come in from here because of the new higher high. And so from here, if you're looking at Helium, I do like Helium at $6 again. Pull back into $6. I pull back into was it 680 to about 605, 601 area here. These aren't a bad area. I would definitely be looking to see, because Helium again is another organization that brings money in by itself.
Yep.
Right? Like they're creating their own internet access system.
People are using their Visa and MasterCards to buy their services.
Yeah. I mean, they're just another company that is, again, it isn't like Hedge or isn't like Hex here.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Look at Hex.
Dude,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
Hold on. While you got that, let me pull the word Helium down. That Hex. Oh, man, that's poor Hex again.
Yeah, it's Hex.
There are strong communities, and then there are brainwashed communities, and that's they got Jim Jones. That's what they got.
Jim Jones, bro. Dude, is he still on the run, or did they?
No. Jim Jones is the guy that made everyone drink the Kool-Aid and committed suicide.
No, I know who Jim Jones is. Back in the 70s.
Oh, it's Richard Hart. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they get him?
No, he's hiding out in hotels around the world. And this last thing that he had out, he even put a blanket over the chair he was sitting in, so you couldn't identify, because people that stay in hotels a lot could say, "Wow, that's a Marriott, and that's the Marriott in Stockholm. I was there last week." And he's just avoiding. He's not on the run. He's just avoiding service. And it's a civil suit at this point, so it's not like Interpol can wrap up his put a red notice for him or anything like that.
That's interesting. And also talking about a company or a community that almost has a religious furiousness to them is Lunic. Good old Do Kwon. Look, this is another one that I sit there and I'm just like, I'm wowed at. Simply because the community is that strong. Like, this is pure community. Like, this whole entire thing, like this pump, this pump right here to this pump right here, that's all community. And respect to those guys.
All right, Drano, you've asked a million times, and NetZ is strong too. Well,
yeah.
Well, and I must say, I am an investor in NetZ for transparency, and they don't pay me to promote it or pay Pedro to promote it, all that type of stuff. That's transparency statement done. NetZ, let's get their name up there, right? Had the big DEX roll out, and nothing happened with the price of it. Why isn't this updating? Should be updating. There we go, updating. And it looks like it's selling off pretty hard, and it's killing our paper trading account here. So, Drano, if you could give us some alpha on what's next for NetZ, and to get that price moving again, because the last thing you want to see the cells here. That's a bunch of people realizing something didn't go right, or something's going on, and not buying it. And apparently developers are starting to develop things on the mainnet. That means they should be buying the token in order to test things and all that, and the evidence isn't showing there of that. So, Drano, get that going.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it could be just simply maybe some big cats taking profit.
We're waiting for the B2B announcement. I don't even know what that means. Top 10 exchange. Well, you're already on a lot of exchanges, so I don't think the exchange notification will cause a pump. It'll just cause the ARB bots to work harder. But B2B announcement, if that's a public thing, let us know what it is, and if it's not, just tell us when it's going to be.
Is that business to business announcement?
No, we get business to business, but what is it? It's like,
what specifically are
right.
Yeah,
selling shoes to each other, to one business to another, or there's all kinds of things there. Anyway, but there's definitely a strong community with NetZ. There's a lot of development going on. You can go and look at their mainnet operating, and the blocks are amazing. There's a block every second or something crazy like that. It's really fast. They scroll by, and you can watch it on their website. The blocks being generated and printed on their Explorer just goes, and it's amazing. And it makes it harder for MEV bots to work and all that type of stuff, because the computational time, the in-transit time, means that the bots can miss the block. And I like that. I like it when bots don't work right. Front running bots, and MEV theft bots, arbitrage bots, and all that. Those are all good things because they equalize liquidity pools and all that type of stuff. Drano says you better believe it. All right. Let us know when an announcement's going to be, so we can pay attention to it, and so we can track the interest in the price on that.
Since we're having a decent sell-off here, I want to put in another buy down at the level of 8 cents to 7 cents here, at this level here, right? I said we should, if we're going to put $1,000 in, we put 40% at this level here for us to come down, right? We saw a nice little pump come from it. And then now we're seeing the sell-off. So I would say this would have been $400. This needs to be $600 when we get into this level here, and then we'll be out of that. If we go below this level of 0.071, then we need to make sure we're out of it at this level here, okay? And then we'll find out how it moves right after that, You know, like this is the level here that we expected to be in at. And I expected us to see some fair movement here. So I would expect as we come down into these lower levels here, the 0.80 and the 0.71 area here, to get in and then see how it moves after that. This to me is really where it would look fine. And the fact is that we didn't put any supply wick here. And if we see it sell off again with no supply wick and sell off into this area here, to me, this looks sexy simply because there's no real resistance until we get back up into the consolidation area of 13 cents. So that's one of those things I really like. Speaking of sell-off, which is actually bouncing off our 8-period moving average, Caspa. Caspa had a really good breakout here. We talked about this yesterday. And but Caspa's doing a bit of a sell-off here. And so we're finding some support here on that 8-period moving average. I believe I said to be looking if you're going to get in, like that first initial buyback area would be the 15-cent area here, 16-cent area. And so then the next part, if we do see another sell-off, would be at that 20-cent, or excuse me, the 20-period moving average, which is going to be at that 13 cents, not 30, 13 cents. So at that moving average, and on top of that, that's a weekly SMA area. So 13, 12-cent area is also a weekly 8-period, which is another good setup that you would want to see it. The weekly candle, even we're halfway through this, is looking pretty weak.
Thanks, Drano, for tuning in. Go. I guess Powell's talking now.
Yeah.
He says, all right, got to go check out the moron Powell. Have a nice day. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Drano in the house. No, ladies and gentlemen, LeBron James has left the house. LeBron James.
What else do we want to check out? We'll just go through.
You know what? Since Caspa's having the pullback, let's look at the one we brought up yesterday, Alphium, or Aliphium, Alephium.
Got it. Yeah, so it's having a decent pullback here. It's actually having not even a decent, it's actually a small pullback. So which is another. That's definitely a bullish sign for me as a group. Whereas, look, I mean, the other one's having a decent pullback, and this one can barely get to that 8-period. So that's more bullish for me to sit there and say, wow, even with all these sell pressure, it's still holding, which means that there's a lot of buyers coming in with the sellers. So you can see, even though you had a bunch of sellers step in, you had almost, if you equal this out, it's probably a little bit more buyers coming in. So sellers and you have buyers. So that looks good from an actual standpoint of buyers stepping in the seller in a seller's day, on a seller's day. So there's definitely buyers stepping in. Let's check out the wicks here. Wick, yeah, it's equal. Boom. These are individual buys. Boom, boom. I would probably go down a little bit more. I'd expect it to at least come down and test the $3 304 area. And then after that, if we don't hold there, we're looking at the $2 and we're looking at the 290 area on Alphium. Where is that on the daily? 290. Yeah, so that's 290 areas. Yesterday's low, and then see some. So like I said, expect to see that 304, 302 area, and then the 290 area as support. If this continues down, I'd expect us to see a definite bounce right here. Here we go. Let me move this here forward. I'll do this right here. And let me make this a daily supply, daily demand. So I would look to see a bounce off of this 225 area here to 217 for Alphium.
All right, let's put the order in. Buy them. On the
And that's
twos.
perfect. Pull back into that level there would be nice. So that sits on 2 zones area with 2 moving averages on higher time frame zones, which is good. And that's a 50% retracement back down from their peak of 350 down to that 225-ish area. So that would be a decent 50% retracement from that high, which isn't bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah. Alphium, and then let's check out some of the AI projects that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Boom. We blew through this resistance level. Oh my gosh, almost put in all-time high on...
Who is that?
This is the AX.
AGIX?
Yeah, AGIX Singularity. Definitely over the last few days, and we're talking huge volume.
Wow.
I mean, look at that. We're talking 1.2 mil, 1.4 mil. That's 4 mil. That's 7 mil. So we're talking big volume coming in right here. Real big volume.
Jesus.
Boom. So I'm going to change this up. We had blew through our zone, and this was a monthly zone. So that look, like I said, would have to. This pullback is a great place to get in at that $4 mark. Let's pull that up. We'll actually go right here. Boom. And then we're gonna do this. Boom. So that's a nice little area for a pull back into. That 450. Like I said, you don't want to get in all in. I like the price more back down in that 28 cents mark area here. That to me is more of a conducive area. We'll pick this one right here. This is on 3 higher time frame charts.
For our viewers here, I've got our little tracker box here for AI render, fetch, and singularity. If you track any of the AI plays here, let us know so we can pay attention to them too. There's more every day, and we can't possibly keep track of them all.
Yeah, but if you guys know one that's popping like it's hot, tell us about it.
Or about to pop.
Popping like it's hot. If it's a
Bring
hot
the
potato,
alpha.
well, you know what I'm saying? We're always looking. If you guys know anybody within the dev team or anything like that, come on, love to hear, especially the baby ones that are creating just new products and that still small. Like those are the ones that we want to hear, because if they're doing dope stuff, just want to hear about it. You know, that's it. Boom. So this is where I'm sitting there. So I would sit there and say first pull back into that 45 cent mark here, 45.75 to the 44.39, and then the other one is going to be that 25.68 to the 23.77 area. These are nice little areas that I would look to get into as the market pulls back into. That's in a nutshell. That's about it. We can check out Fetch. Fetch is pumping. Dude, Fetch did hit our supply area here. It's almost at all-time high. So we did talk about this. Yeah, straight. Like I said, man, there's nothing standing here. I remember it's exactly what you said too, because I think you said, like, dude, you're telling me it's gonna go from here to I said, well, there's nothing standing in its way. Like literally nothing in its way. We're having a bit of a pullback. So I said, if it's gonna pull back, most likely it's gonna come back down to here. We were starting to show some support on the 8-period moving average, but look, it just took off, dude. Like skyrocket in flight, afternoon delight. That's
Rocket
what it
Man.
was. Rocket Man, skyrocket in flight. So yeah, man, nice little delight right there, man. Popped up, hit our zone, a little bit of a sell-off. Come back, tap that 81 cent mark area here. But there's really no demand area until we get down into these lower levels right? And that always scares me when I don't see much. So even on the weekly, I mean, it back down at that 49-cent mark. So we could see a 50% pullback here, real easy. We got something right here, so we can sit there and play the 51 cent, and that's on almost every single chart there. So I would shit there. Give me 1 second.
No, that's the wrong button. This button.
I'm gonna do this monthly.
I always keep wanting to call Fetch. I want to call him Fletch.
That's such a good movie, dude.
And here's Fletch, 6'5", 6'9" with the afro. Are you recording this? No, never.
Never.
This one's for the mattress police. I'm gonna have to call rank on you, mattress police. There are no tags on this mattress.
Oh, so good. So like I'm trying to focus and you're cracking me up. So like I'm looking at this, like it's strong, right? And here's the thing, you're gonna have a type of pullback. We should have a pullback if this thing is going to. I just said it's probably pullback 50%, but the fact is that pullback is not a bad thing again, right? Like we see it pullback, I want to see it come back down to these levels because there's no. And I didn't see this one daily area here. It could pull back potentially to here. So let me bounce this up here real quick on the daily. But then I have to sit there. Boom. Daily demand. Where are you at? Daily week. Let me check this. Oop, that definitely got me jumping. Daily week, daily supply. Where are you at? Daily demand. So we'll see here real quick. Let me pop this and do a quick little. No. That'd be Miss Striking, everybody.
Yes, that's correct. Mrs. Striking is home. Anton Golub says hello. Anton, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're coming to the end of the show, but Anton coming to us. I don't know where in the world you are today, Anton. Not that I keep track of you, but let us know if you're in Switzerland or in Dubai again and what's going on. Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you. Ladies and gentlemen, Anton is a viewer of our show here and a guest. He's currently, I think he's leading the pack at the most guest appearances on the show so far, called the Green Jacket Club, like the Saturday Night Live club. How you doing, everybody? Chuck says, "What's up, Anton? Always good to watch your show." Says Anton. Thanks very much. Today's focus, Anton, was the project Jasmy, but more along the lines of the country of Japan waking up to crypto now with their. As you well know, that after the Mt. Gox problem, Japan cracked down on crypto, and not only just for users, but also for innovation and VCs and all this, or VCs and money going into it. So it held the innovation down, and that's starting to ease now, and you're starting to see innovation come out of Japan. And as a society, when they collectively put their mind to something. They do great things, sometimes some bad things, but they get together and really kick it in gear. And so we're expecting, a lot of good things to come out of Japan in the next couple months, years, and stuff like that. I was a market maker for their token. Oops.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of his Anton's original businesses was a market maker. Hold on 1 second, I'll be right back here.
It's so interesting, man. I want to learn how to be a market maker. I would love to. I'm a trader, but I've never done market making, and I would love to do that, just to see what it's like. Anton, man, hit me up on Telegram and tell me what I need to do to be part of some market making organization.
You got to have a shit ton of money. It's pretty simple. You either get in first, or you have a shit ton of money. Bring your own liquidity pool, Pedro, and any market-making organization will let you in. Just say, I want to be part of your group. No, we're not taking one. I got $10 million. Come on in. Come on in.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, it's a fun and tough business, that's for sure, and that's why Anton's not in it anymore. He's wisely sold this company that did that. Anton always did. Pedro, you teach us good rules about investing your money and having profit-taking rules. Anton has very good rules about selling your business and knowing when to have an exit strategy. And he's successfully done that a couple of times. And the businesses of some of them have gone on to be bigger and better, but you can't say, well, what if? You got to say, I have a plan. I'm going to start a business, and I'm going to exit it, and then move to the next plan. And it's the same way in crypto and investing in anything. You got to have a plan.
I think timing is important.
Timing is important. No shit. You are very good at timing.
I want to know. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to sit down and figure out how to do it because I've always wanted to figure out what market making was about. And I want to know how. So, yeah, let's talk down the road. Anyways, one last little thing here. For a lot of the stuff that's going on here in the Vida, I need to move this up here. This was supposed to be up here.
Anyway, Anton, thanks for joining in. We only got about 2 minutes left in the show here before we got to run, do real life world stuff. But for those of you still listening, the show is looking for I didn't do our sponsor pitch today for Camuso CPA and Audit Chain and the DeFi Dojo Lounge. But we are looking for sponsors for larger show sponsors and things like that. And ideally, we would just love some show that would or sponsor that would help pay for us to go to Paris Blockchain Week and that type of stuff. And cover that and do the live show from that. It's going to be a big event, Paris Blockchain Week. For those of you out there that represent companies that just have tons of extra money that want to dump it into a couple of streamers to come cover their event, just give me a call. Now, isn't that a great pitch? It's not easy. People are just going to throw money at us, aren't they?
Dude, they are. I believe it. Dude, I'm putting all my energy and all my belief into that. Boom. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. Somebody's going to throw this and go, these guys are great guys, and they're funny, and they're pretty darn smart.
But Pedro, we got to get rolling here. Got things to do.
Yeah. Same here. All right, brother. Well, guys, you know my spill here. Be safe out there in that crypto jungle.
Yep. That's all I can say.
Don't get any digital venereal unique diseases.
No, it's just stay away from rug pulls, honeypots, all those nefarious things. Over here next to me is the box that says the show schedule. We'll be on tomorrow at 12 o'clock or 12:15, depending on how we can get our things together. So join us. Anton, if you can, join us at the beginning of the show. We've had a lot of fun today with the guys from Project Stag. We went over their chart and what they're doing to help preserve nature's wetlands so they can go blast a Bambi on it. Wait, it's not the wetlands, the natural resources. Anyway, good group of guys there raising money for that, for those efforts. I talked a little bit about, or talked a lot about Japan and Jasmy and the good stuff going on over there, and all the things that we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, in which I'll say we, but really what I mean by we is Pedro, said are getting ready to pump. And they all did, and I didn't put any money in any of them, unfortunately. Although in our show portfolio, we did. I just didn't put any personal money in because that's, the show portfolio, you have no risk. You're like, it's just paper money. When you put your own money in, you're like, I don't know. And then, of course, they pump, and you're like, God darn it. Anyway, who else we got here? Chuck Jansen says, great show, guys. And, of course, Pedro says, I'm jelly, Anton. I don't Greetings from Dubai, drinking tea and smoking shisha. I got to tell you, Anton, the first time I smoked shisha, it was in Al Ain, the little town, oasis town out in the desert. It's out at the Hilton out there with a buddy. And Dave, if you ever hear this, I fault you for this. And he's like, he might have had a few beers before I got there, and he's like, let's smoke some shisha. And I've never been a smoker my whole life. The occasional cigar type thing and all that type of stuff. But I was like, sure, no problem, let's smoke shisha. The first big breath of that, I was like, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. It was so awful. I mean, it was so flavored, and it was so harsh. It was harsh and flavored. It wasn't like sweet and flavored. It was awful. I was like, and you're in the desert. Admittingly, it was a green lawn, but right, the El Ain is in the United Arab Emirates. It's right where the desert meets the mountains, like over to Oman. It's a little oasis type thing, and and it's blazing hot, and you ingest flame into your lungs, and I'm like, oh, this was a mistake once again. But millions of people love it, so I give them credit for doing that. Pit Monk, thanks for joining us. We're just ending the show. We will see you on another day. It's good you're alive, Anton says. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. Thanks, everyone, for joining in, having a great show. And as I always say on behalf of Pedro Garcia, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world, and we'll see you here tomorrow, so be there.